Vermood, or Belmod in his younger days. He appears in Super 2, but to make it a bit broader in interpretation of this series concept, his past self didn't show up, so I figured even this pattern of wild imaginings would be allowed. I'm quitting. It's that sort of a scene. Just what was it that took place before he became a god of destruction? This is the one that probably did the most rounds on the internet, and I kinda like this backstory, with a strong indication that the man next to him is heavily hinted to be Gichin, Jiren's master from the anime, though we never actually had an official confirmation, that he was already a member of the Pride Troopers. Also, although the two were friends, Belmod considered Gichin's views to be a bit sappy. Honestly, I totally forgot about this guy's existence, and the picture itself is pretty funny. Tapika, one of the contestants in the Afterlife tournament. He's a character who doesn't really get much of a chance to shine, but I got the feeling that this was his last chance to bask in glory. Yeah, because of his name. You know what? You got a point, Toyotaro, you got a point. It's our boy, Thouser! Thouser. He's the leader of the Cooler Armored Squadron. Apparently, he's from the same solar system as Jace from the Ginyu Special Force. I hear that Bonyu, who appears in the game Kakarot coming out this January, is also from Jace's system, which gets you wondering what kind of relationship the three of them have. We love this guy, and even in serious what ifs, he'll keep calling his master Monsieur Cooler. Don't argue, it's something that we do. But speaking of Bonyu, she's a character who appears in the game Kakarot, which is out now. It seems she can use a crushable just like Jace, who belongs to the same race. Honestly, it's a pretty badass bit of artwork for her, to be fair. And we like Bonyu, so good on you, muscle girl. Wait, Toyotaro, is this another man-wolf? Man-wolf. In Kakarot, we learned that there is a drug called Animaline, which lets people turn into animals. But I wonder if this guy is just able by nature to turn into a human when he sees a full moon. Well, the whole Animaline retcon is pretty infamous in the fandom, but oh man. We thought that Toyotaro really loved Roshi and Gohan, but it seems that we might have a new contender. He actually kind of likes Man-wolf. And speaking of animal warriors, the crocodile who lost to Kurodin in the prelims of the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. Right now, it seems that a crocodile is in the news, so here's a contestant who doesn't even have a name, who appeared for a single panel in Volume 10 to get knocked out in the prelim round. I hope he's still alive and well. Honestly, we had to double check whether this guy existed, and we didn't remember at all that he was even there, so that's a deep cut, Toyotaro. Deep cut. Colonel Silver. All of the executive officers of the Red Ribbon Army are cool, and I like them. In all fairness, I didn't recognize Silver at the first glance of this art, but yeah, he is kinda cool. Bit underrated, as people often forget about him when talking about the Red Ribbon Army. He was the first guy that really came into contact with Goku. He kinda gets overshadowed by the likes of Red, Black, Blue, and Violet. Ikose and Idasa, the brothers who fought against Trunks and Goten at the 25th Tenkaichi Budokai. At any rate, I like their names. If you were wondering, Ikose's name is an anagram of the Japanese word sekoi, which means simple-minded, and Idasa is a play on dasai, something lame and out of fashion, which Toriyama had cemented in his terrible hairstyle. He can be a cruel beast, that Toriyama. Mermaid. My editor told me that I should draw a mermaid since they're popular, but when I drew her as I pleased, she ended up not resembling the original all that much. Let's just call this one a doodle. Please forgive me. Hey, at least he's honest about it. But moving on to slightly bigger fish. Raditz, Goku's older brother, who came to Earth in order to bring Goku over to his side. Bardock must certainly have never anticipated a future where both of his sons would be fighting each other. Hey, it's our boy! Considering that this picture debuted a few months before Granola the Survivor, that may mean, okay, no, don't tell us. This is the doodle that has planted the idea in his mind about Bardock's wish. Okay, let's move on. Uzaru Bardock. He transforms into a giant monkey in his new battle jacket. Maybe there was a battle like this one as well. And look, he's fighting that Space Hitmonlee looking alien. He might look pretty badass over here, but do you know who looks even more badass on his day? On his illustration? Bora, Upa's father who defends the Kardin Sanctuary. His aged appearance in Volume 42 is so distinguished, I just love it. Bora, dude, you've been lifting! We really should do something with him in a What If, we really should. Mummy-kun. I like how with the face like that, he's called Mummy-kun. It was a pain just drawing his bandages, so wrapping them must have been even more of a chore. Oh boy, are those cell spots all over again? Is this a trademark Toriyama complaint? Is our boy Toyotaro finally growing up over the age of 40? And the name Bandages? Yeah, Bandages was cool, I guess. Gregory. He's Kaio-sama's caretaker, who you'll know from the anime. He doesn't appear in the comic, but maybe he's just hiding somewhere. We've told the story of Gregory in the King Kai video from a few months ago, but we do like this little bug. Toyotaro makes him look pretty fierce though as well. Oh my god, look at his backside. Shisami. Toriyama Sensei's design illustrations didn't include a back view of him, so I suppose the high-cut briefs with the anime stuff being playful. It's fantastic. 2021 is the year of the ox, so I drew Shisami, since he's probably got a bovine motif going on. I hope the year will be a good one. I mean, as cool as Shisami is, there is another ox-themed character that you could draw, Toyotaro. We'll let you figure out who that is on your own. Master Sergeant Murasaki. Trunks' broadsword is cool, but Murasaki's katana is tasteful and cool too. I don't know if Murasaki has ever looked as serious as he does in this picture. It's not bad, it's just we're more used to him being more, exaggerated. Ultimate Shenlong. It feels like a gigantic Shenlong, it's so cool. Although Super Shenlong is actually even huger by far. Including animation, there are quite a few different Shenlongs, but each has its own charm and I love them all. Is it me or the horns slightly too big? This isn't my favorite dragon drawing by Toyotaro. Olivu, a warrior from Earth who apparently went down in history as a hero of myth. Seems like he had a considerable role to play while he was alive. What sort of battles against what sort of foes did he have? I'd sure like to see that. But hey, look, it's Olivu, one of my other favorite filler characters, and yes, we're very curious about him too. With love to obscure filler characters like that, Toyotaro really loves to show his fanboy angle, and in some cases, his opinions about what characters he'd like to see. And you know what? They're not that much different from ours. He also drew Arca, Malaiko, Chopchai, and Paikon, as well as Papoi. Arca. Once again, it's a competitor in the Afterlife tournament, a warrior from the Eastern Galaxy. He apparently has the ability to turn any place into an underwater locale. Underwater fights are rare in the series, so it's quite the precious ability he possesses. Malaiko, a competitor in the Afterlife tournament who appears to take pride in his monstrous strength. Kinda reminds you of Giran, doesn't he? Chopchai. He's a competitor in the Afterlife tournament. His specialty seems to be splitting into multiple copies of himself. Perhaps doing a match on a team that's made up entirely of yourselves is the best kind of teamwork? Haikahan and other Afterlife tournament competitors. From the top, it's Tolby, Furog, Caterpie, and Tapika. Not to be confused with this Caterpie, by the way. And technically this one came first. Papoi. He's a hero from Southern Galaxy, but he showed up too late and didn't make it in time for the Afterlife tournament. I wanted to see what he could do. Now the next entry is quite infamous, especially amongst DBZA audiences. Hooray for our violent savior! Ipana, or Berry. With their simple and quirky designs that are just so Toriyama-sensei, they're a set of characters I'd really like to see more of in the spotlight. Apparently, they lived on planet Plant in the past. I don't know whether Toyotaro knows how much people hate these things in the West. The ghost who tells people to form a line. Since Halloween is this month, he's a ghost. It's the fortune-telling crone's barber's servant, who also does things like blood transfusions. The skeletons next to it are the gatekeepers standing guard. That's, self-explanatory. And a pretty deep cut, I guess, but here he is in color. Resident number TKM 118755 Bulma, one of the only 3 people named Bulma in West City. She only appears in one panel, and only her face is shown, so I designed her clothes based on the other residents. I wonder what kind of person the remaining Bulma is. This might be one of my favorite gags from the original Dragon Ball. It's just gotta be the expression. Puar transformed into Goku. He appears in Dragon Ball Volume 1. These character designs from the early serialization are so distinctive and adorable. I love them. Oh, that's so cute. You see, Toyotaro, you really can draw adorable things if you want. Not everyone has to look super fierce. Colonel Yellow, since 2022 is the year of the tiger. Speaking of Colonel Yellow, I ended up really liking the scene from one of the chapters in Dragon Ball SD Volume 4, where it turns out that Goku, who had just come from Yaoi, was wearing Colonel Yellow's fur all along. Admittedly, okay, that's kind of cool. Some of his modern reimaginings of the characters are not that great, but when they hit, they hit. Artificial Human number 15. In commemoration of the release of the new movie starting this month, I'll be drawing the artificial humans from the old movies. And speaking of his silent comrade, I wish he was more of a character, because it's really a cool design. Artificial Human number 14. I'm also looking forward to the new artificial humans, Gamma 1 and 2, in the new movie, Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Incidentally, I've also drawn a brand new illustration of Gamma 1 and 2 in the back of Dragon Ball Super Volume 18, which goes on sale Monday, April the 4th. So please check out the collected release too. Ah, look at this trucker hat. I don't know about you guys, but I really love the idea that Jiro has based him on the idolized version of himself. But what's with the hat though? Nobody knows. Artificial Human number 13. The new release date for the brand new movie Superhero is set, and the excitement's finally started to build. I'm looking forward to the day it comes out. Merged Artificial Human number 13. I want to see even more artificial humans besides the one that we've seen so far. Personally, I'm not a fan of this form. Not only had he an absolute audacity to steal Vegeta's due, but he also lost a lot of his charisma, which made him such a fun character in the first place. Artificial human number 16. Have you seen Superhero yet? I've already seen it 3 times myself. It's so amazing. I'll watch it yet again. If you haven't seen it yet, then please do. This is a shame that Toyotaro doesn't share many thoughts about these guys, especially after we mentioned that Nail was one of the greatest sacrifices of Dragon Ball Z. There is something really nice seeing 16 smiling though, you know. I do like that picture. The Young Turtle and the Crane Hermits. This is how they appeared in Dragon Ball Episode 129, where they were under the tutelage of their master Mutaito. Mutaito, the master of the Turtle and Crane Hermits. I would really like to see more from these 3. I feel that albeit competent, the flashbacks in the anime and manga haven't done justice to their relationship, and you could do a lot of cool stuff with them. Elder Kaioshin back when he was younger. The 2 people that ended up fusing when the witch just up and stole one of his Potara. I'm really curious to know what the relationship was like between these 2. Old Kai is a weird character. He's kind of just steals some bits from Shin and Roshi at the same time. That makes me think we should make a video about him, because there's really something off about this guy. Doc, commanding officer of B Company, under the command of General Blue. He moved on Kame House on General Blue's orders, but was defeated at the hands of his intended target, the Turtle Hermit. Even these incidental characters have the feeling of, yeah, there'd definitely be a guy like that, have their charm. Known as Captain Dark in the West. Yikes, Toyotaro, yikes. This guy has some pretty nasty historical inspiration that may have gone over your head. You were kind of right that there'd be a guy like that, but he had no charm at all. And his boss was even worse. Sergeant Metallic guards the 3rd floor of Muscle Tower. He looks like he might have been one of the artificial humans between number 1 and number 7. I wonder if it'll ever be confirmed. That's a valid question, actually. Maybe Major Metallotron was one of the androids, renamed by Commander Red perhaps? Knowing his megalomania, I wouldn't put it past him to change the name to something catchy and intimidating. And his design is weird enough to fit Jiro's unusual style of android making. Ken Shinhan using Shioken. Although he doesn't get much chance to shine these days, I want to see Ten Shinhan get to do his part, using techniques like this. There are a lot of wish lists here and there which give you that feeling that Toyotaro's control might be smaller than we thought. Oh, okay, this one's precious. I know many people hate Icarus, but seeing him full grown and still being buddies with Gohan is pretty heartwarming. Higher Dragon. This is how I imagine him all grown up. I hope it's still living happily on Mount Palzu. Yeah, we agree with you, Toyotaro. We really hope for that too. Cooler, final form. He has a form beyond what his younger brother Frieza had, so I remember being completely astonished at the time. He's a really cool character and I really like him. That's a very cool angle, by the way. Even though this form is based on the Predator, he gave him that xenomorphy pose. We do hope Cooler will feature in the original timeline at some point. Garlic Jr., a character from the movies who later made the jump into the anime. I'd like to try drawing his transformed state sometime too. Who's this guy again? Turles. I wonder how he survived the destruction of Planet Vegeta. I hope that can get cleared up someday. Well, we do too. At the time of writing this script, this is the last one. Once again, thanks to Kanzenshuu and Co for translations of these drawings, and being one of the pillars of the Dragon Ball community. Thank you for taking this long journey with us, and tell us which ones you liked and which ones you didn't.